Once upon a time, there lived a kingdom called the Azuma Kingdom. In the Azuma Kingdom lived a girl named Guma. Guma was a beautiful girl, a humble and hardworking girl. Unlike other girls, she liked to hunt. She used her bow and arrow a lot, and she would spend time in the bush, in the forest, hunting down bushmeat for her parents. She was an only child. This was a strange hobby for a girl to have. Nonetheless, her parents loved her the way she was. Now, Ugoma had a friend, a childhood friend that she grew up with. His name was Arinze. As they grew older, Arinze expressed his love for Ugoma. He loved her so much. Now, as they grew older and older and time for marriage was approaching, Arinze noticed that Ugoma was so beautiful, many other men wanted her. She was intelligent, she was hardworking, she was humble. She achieved many things that regular girls do not achieve. Now, with all these achievements, Ugoma was still humble, still respectful. But deep down, Arinze was threatened. Anytime he sees Ugoma, he will tell her, "Why do you like going into the bush to hunt? Can't you cook in the kitchen like other girls? Eh? Why must you always be moving around?" But Arinze, I've told you, these are the things that I like to do. I know it's not normal for girls to hunt, but I like it. Listen, let me tell you, any woman that's going to marry me will stop that nonsense. Even the other day, I heard that you killed a lion. Who does that? How can a woman do that? Ugoma was always shy and uncomfortable around Arinze. What started as an innocent friendship from childhood was beginning to stress her out. Now one day she went to the bush. While she was hunting, a man was watching her. He admired how she ran, how she stood, how she pulled her bow and arrow and shot. She was beautiful, he said to himself. Who is this girl? How come I've never seen her? Immediately, Ugoma realized that someone was watching her. She turned and shouted, "What are you doing here? Who are you?" And the man said, "Who I am is not important. What is important is who are you?" But Ugoma did not say anything. "Why are you here?" she asked again. Then that's when the man turned and saw that Ugoma had killed a bull. "How could you do this?" he said. "If I didn't see you, I wouldn't have believed you had done this." With pride, Ugoma said, "I am a hunter. I hunt, and my father sells the skin of the animals. That is how we make our money." Ugoma was very proud of her achievement. She thought that the man would be like Arinze or other men who will snub her achievements. But no, the man said, "Wow, that is amazing. Who taught you how to hunt?" The first time, Ugoma met a man who was interested in her hobby. And from that day on, they began to talk and spend time together. Up till now, they never knew each other really well. They never knew their names. But the man knew all of Ugoma's dreams. He knew all of her goals and her achievements. He was deeply in love with her. Now, back in the palace of the Azuma Kingdom, the queen was ranting. Her only son, the prince, was yet to get married. She wanted him to marry as soon as possible. She had brought many maidens to him, beautiful girls from far and wide. Yet this boy has not taken a wife. She was complaining to the king. Give him time, This young man, he likes to take things easy. He is not someone you will force, the king said. But he's not getting any younger, his mother shouted. And then in walks the prince. "Mama, you will not believe what happened today. The only thing I want to hear is that you have found a wife and you're going to produce children," his mother said. "Indeed, Mama, I found her." Immediately his mother smiled. "Who is she?" Who are her parents? Is she from a royal family? Is she from the Boma kingdom? Which kingdom is she from? Tell us and we will go there now. Mama, I don't think she's a princess. The gods forbid. What do you mean by you don't think she's a princess? Mama, I really like this girl and I want to marry her. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. At least you've seen somebody. So who is she? Who are her parents? Is she from the cabinet members? Is her father one of the cabinet members? Who is her father? Who is her mother? But the prince did not know. Mama, I do not know these things. How will I know it? And then the king had an idea. Why don't you host a ball and then she will come and we'll get to know her parents? But the prince did not think that the girl he liked will attend such things. Instead, he told his parents he wanted to have a competition. A competition? Yes, Mama, a hunting competition. A hunting competition? Which girl goes to a hunting competition? His mother said. Mama, this girl is different. She's special. And I want to marry her. So his parents hosted the hunting competition. The competition was for girls who like to hunt with bows and arrows to come in. Now, not many girls were into hunting, but most of them pretended they were because they wanted to become the princess of the land. So many of them came. Now, Ugoma wanted to go, but Arinze told her not to. What are you going to do there? You and I are already husband and wife. Very soon, my father is going to pay a bride price. So where are you going to? Guma did not know what to do, but her heart was restless. And so that night, she prepared to go for the competition. And that day, she came. She was so excited to be able to take part in such a competition for girls. Such a thing had never existed in their kingdom before. There had been hunting competitions in the past for men, but women were never invited. But the prince to organize something like this means he was opening doors for women to take part in this competition. And so the game began. The birds were freed and the girls were asked to hunt. Many of them did not know what to do. They had never used the bow and arrow before. But Ugoma knew what to do. Immediately she came and the prince saw her. His heart was filled with joy. Now, at the end of the competition, Ugoma won. And the prize that was given to her was a box of gold. She was happy to receive this prize. However, the prince came before her, and then she realized who the prince was. He had been the man she had been speaking to in the forest for the past few weeks. And there he asked her to be his princess. She had won the competition and won his heart. But Ugoma did not say yes. Instead, she ran away. And this made the queen very angry. Immediately, the queen shouted, "How dare she? Have you seen what has happened now? I brought good girls for you. You said no, you wanted this one. See how she has disgraced us here. Go immediately. Guards, go to her house immediately and bring her and her parents here." But when the guards got to Goma's house, they only saw her parents, they did not see her. When they took her parents before the palace, they were begging. They did not know where Ugoma went. They didn't even know that Ugoma had come for the competition. But then where is she? The queen shouted. The prince was very upset. "Mama, why are you doing this? Stop it. I am going to marry her." But the problem was no one could find Ugoma again. This was strange. She had just left the competition. Where else would she be? They searched and searched and searched, but no one could find her. At this point, Ugoma's parents were becoming worried, and the queen could see it. "Where else would she be?" the queen asked. And then her mother remembered Arinze and told them about Arinze. The prince was upset to hear about Arinze, but he sent the guards to go and check in Arinze's house. And there they realized that it was only Arinze's parents and his siblings. They said they had not seen Arinze. Now, the whole village began to search because the prince had said Ugoma was going to be his wife or else he would not marry anyone again. So they searched and searched and searched, but no one could find Ugoma. This was very strange. Her parents began to weep and cry and beg for help. Even the queen had stopped being angry. She was now scared. What could have happened to the girl? Then the prince remembered where he used to meet Ugoma in the forest, and he ran there immediately. But she wasn't there. Where could she be? He kept asking. Now, as the prince was about to turn and leave the forest, he turned and then he saw Ugoma's friend. The friend was crying. Her friend was a four-legged creature called a dog. Anytime he came to the forest, she was always with the dog. The dog was always with her. The dog began to cry. Once the dog lifted its head and saw the prince, it began to bark. As if to say, "Follow me," the dog was trying to say. And so the prince began to follow the dog. The prince was surprised at this. Where would the dog take him to? But he decided to follow the dog. Maybe the dog knew where Ugoma was. Maybe Ugoma was somewhere in trouble and she needed help. So he began to follow the dog. And lo and behold, they came upon a cave. And at the entrance of the cave was Ugoma's broken, beaten, and bleeding body. Someone had beat her up and left her there for dead. He immediately carried her. He was already crying. "Who did this to you, Ugoma?" But Ugoma could not speak. The prince carried her and walked for miles before he could see anyone to help him. And they took her to the palace. Every day, the prince would stay by her side. The herbalists would come and administer herbs and treatments on her. Her parents were always crying, staying by her side. Even the king and the queen were sad. They saw their son become sadder. The prince would not speak. He was waiting for Guma to open her eyes and tell him what happened. But the herbalist said Guma had to fight. She was close to death. If the prince had not seen her at that time, she would have died. But thank God that the prince saw the dog and the dog led him to the cave. Now it took weeks before Ugoma could recover. Immediately Ugoma was better. She opened her eyes, and there the prince was before her. And the prince asked her, "Who did this to you?" And Ugoma explained that after the competition, she was on her way home when she met Arinze. Arinze was very, very angry. "I told you, you stupid girl, not to go for this competition. Why did you go there?" "But I told you that I'm not going there because of the prince. I like this type of competition. This is the first time they're having this type of thing in this kingdom. And I wanted to partake. You know I'm very good with hunting." Before Goma could finish speaking, Arinze slapped her. Boom! "How dare you? I've been taking this nonsense from you because I respect your parents. If I am talking, so you want to talk as well? Do you not know how to respect your husband to be?" This was the first time Arinze was slapping her. She was very shocked. "What have I done now? What did I do?" "What do you mean, what did you do? I have told you that as a woman, all you need to do is produce children for me and stay in the kitchen. What type of normal girl will go hunting? Hunting for what? What are you hunting for? Stay one place, you will never listen." Again, he beat her. Ugoma was getting angry. "Stop it! Stop hitting me! In fact, I'm no longer going to marry you. I don't want to marry you again. I'm going home and I'm going to tell my parents that I am no longer interested in this union. It has to end. Ugoma began to walk away from Arinze, but at that moment, Arinze turned red. How dare you, he said. And immediately, he grabbed her from the back and hit her head, and Ugoma collapsed. He took her deep in the forest, in the cave, where nobody was, and beat her and left her there for dead. When the prince heard this, he was very, very angry. He sent all the guards in the palace to go and search for Arinze. After days and weeks, finally, one of the guards found Arinze when he was trying to cross the border into another kingdom. He was arrested and immediately sentenced to prison. Ugoma accepted the prince's proposal and married him, and they lived happily ever after.
Amalungo nye melo, amalo nye dimba no nye dinjo.